Assemblyman Carl DeMaio, thank you so much for making me.
Thank you for having me.
So what is your overall concern with AB 264?
When I first looked at the bill, I said, well, this bill does something that's already illegal, and that is, it's illegal to threaten people with violence in the state of California. So I said, what else is hidden in the bill? And we came across this provision that basically makes it unlawful for someone to be a citizen journalist taking video of these government contractors doing something that they think is either fraudulent or illegal or wrong, posting that video to the internet. That would be made unlawful under this bill. And so I don't think that we should be infringing upon people's First Amendment rights. And these organizations, if they have nothing to hide, shouldn't fear citizen journalists who take videos of something that they're concerned about and share it with the general public. That's democracy, that's transparency, and it's a good thing.
And this led you to ultimately call it the Stop Nick Shirley Act.
Right, because when you take a look at what Nick Shirley and other citizen journalists have done, he's not the only one, but he's gotten a lot of national attention for the videos that he has posted. He goes out to a government contractor, maybe it's a hospice provider or the Somali Leering Centers, finds that they don't have nurses, they don't have medical supplies, 100 of them are located in the same building and they're not actually being staffed. It would present evidence on video that these groups are fake, and yet they're still getting millions of dollars of taxpayer funds. In Minnesota, he showed up at the daycare centers, sat in the parking lot, had video of no children being dropped off for hours and hours on end, then went in and interviewed the providers, the staff at these fake daycares, and they basically were evasive. When those videos were posted to the internet, it resulted in public outcry, and yes, prosecution, law enforcement, and hopefully we're going to see savings of taxpayer funds. We should not be discouraging citizen journalists. We should not be preventing transparency from organizations that receive taxpayer money. If they have nothing to hide, why are they asking that these videos not be posted?
But do you truly think that Assemblymember Miabanta's intention with this bill was to potentially censor or suppress citizen journalism, as opposed to that maybe being an unintended consequence of how she wrote this bill?
No, she's denying it, but she knows exactly what she's doing. The bill was written by a group called CHIRLA, Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights LA, a government contractor, tens of millions of dollars. What were they caught doing? Organizing violent protests against federal immigration officers in Los Angeles. And their rallies, their organizing meetings, their training meetings were actually captured on videotape by undercover citizen watchdog journalists. They don't want that transparency. So they've written this bill to bully and bankrupt, because there are financial penalties if you violate the law, bully and bankrupt these citizen journalists who are just trying to hold these government contractors accountable.
CHIRLA is one group that could be considered an immigrant service provider. Right now, some First Amendment groups have noted that the definition of that would be really broad. Just your concern there, based on what we've learned over the last week.
Well, let's actually review what happened in Los Angeles after those violent protests were organized, in large part with CHIRLA's instigation and involvement. Videos surfaced showing CHIRLA staff coaching and training and inciting various activists to go out and dox law enforcement. They didn't like the fact that those videos were on the internet. This is exactly what this bill is designed to stop: the public transparency of what these organizations are doing. If they don't have something to hide, why criminalize posting these videos on the internet by citizen watchdogs?
What we've learned from the Freedom of Individual Rights and Expression, the FIRE org, it's said that essentially she is trying to protect some speech that is not protected, and she could make some small changes that could allow it to flow with the First Amendment. Your reaction to what that group had to say about this bill?
Well, what FIRE was doing, I think, was trying to be as kind as possible to Ms. Bonta by pointing out, okay, there are certain things in here that are not in violation of the First Amendment, but or a question for policymakers. I disagree with the entire bill, but the thing that I am most offended by and concerned by is the violation of the First Amendment. And what the fire organization confirmed is that there are indeed First Amendment problems and violations with this bill. This bill will be thrown out in court in terms of several of these provisions, including the Stop Nick Shirley Act provisions banning bloggers and citizen watchdogs from posting videos. If she has two choices. Number one, I encourage her to read her own bill, because at that hearing, I actually asked, have you read your own bill, or are you lying? Because either she did not write the bill and did not read the bill, because her answers were completely misstating the language in her own bill. She said that that section that I was quoting specifically related to people making threats. No, the language references no threats at all. It just simply says that if you post a video on the internet of anyone involved with these organizations, you have committed a violation. So either Ms. Bonta did not write and did not read the bill that she's championing, or she's being completely dishonest. This is a severe problem. This bill has so many issues with it. I hope that we scrap it, but at the very least, I would urge my Democrat colleagues to take this provision out. This is so offensive, and it's a violation of First Amendment rights.
What do you make of, there was no registered opposition on this bill in the first two committees that heard it, and then in the Assembly Public Safety Committee, we only saw one person show up. There's like a lot of vitriol online. Nick Shirley has a lot of followers. And I mean, we've seen in this building historically, when there's a bill that people really don't like, people do show up. What do you think happened in this case so far?
No, I think it is absolutely incorrect and off track to measure public sentiment by people who show up in this building, because most of the people who show up in this building, 99% of them, are paid lobbyists. They're paid agitators. And I keep trying to remind my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, your job here is not to choose between the two lobbyists that are paid, to pull your strings and to bend your ear. Your job is to give voice to the voiceless. Your job is to represent the constituents back home and ask yourself the question, what would they say about this bill? If they were actually in this room and lining up to participate in the debate, what would the voiceless say about this bill? Because that's your job. I pride myself on the fact that when something doesn't look right, we research it. I read the bills. And I don't blow up every bill, because there's a lot of bills I simply vote no on. I've got the record for 34% of my votes are no votes. People say, well, why are you voting no so often? Have you read the bill?
There's also hundreds of bills that go through this building.
Hundreds of bills. But I will speak out on bills that are egregiously bad. And this is one of those egregiously bad bills, because it is so offensive to violate the First Amendment in the way in which this bill does.
Did you see what Assemblyman Nick Schultz said in the
I was
Assembly Public Safety
Committee?
on
KFI yesterday, and John Cobell played a clip. Yeah. So, this is the same guy who killed AB 379 to make it a felony to purchase 16 and 17-year-old minors for sex. And when public outcry blew up, like it's blowing up on the Stop Nick Shirley Act, he continued to push back and deny and to dodge. And public outcry just continued to grow. So within a week, he came back, tail between his legs, and did the right thing. But it shouldn't take a firestorm of public controversy to get the legislators to do their damn job and abide by the U.S. Constitution.
Is there anything else you think we should know, Assemblyman?
My hope is that Ms. Bonta will take a friendly amendment and remove Section B123 from her bill.
And actually, while I have you, because you read bills, I mean, is it your understanding that that section under current law applies to some of the groups that already have these safe-at-home protections, those who provide gender-affirming care, abortion providers, for example?
Yeah, that law was passed in the wake of a Project Veritas investigation that alleged that Planned Parenthood, they produced videos, caught videos in public spaces, by the way, in restaurants, that they felt showed violation of federal law. As a result of that, the previous Attorney General Xavier Becerra, brought an unconstitutional prosecution against those citizen journalists. And that prosecution ultimately was thrown out for being illegal. That the Project Veritas citizen journalists had First Amendment rights to record those videos and to share them with the general public. So the provision for Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers seems to be in response to that, to try to create financial penalties for posting something without the permission of someone else. It has not been challenged in court. I believe it will likely be overturned if it's ever executed and challenged in court. It's actually a provision in law that was put there before I was in the state legislature. I would hope that I would have also have seen that language and if not dubbed it the Stop Nick Shirley Act, the Stop Project Veritas Act, because clearly I think that was the intent and design there.
All right. Anything else you think we should know?
That's all.
All right.